Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. Needed to find my prayers in these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello, everyone. Yes, I have. Let me scoot over a little. Don't fall over, Lady Liberty. Let me move you a little. Okay. Don't want her falling over, do we? No. Never want to let Liberty fall over. Hello, Julian. I didn't expect anyone to be on, and buenos tardes to you as well. Figured I needed to get a show in because I'd taken a couple days off. I like to stream every day. Yes, I do have my radio set up on because I never switched it from my last recording, and I need to record another radio show, so why not? And I like changing up the look a bit. This is a brand new series. We are going to be doing history, not just the National Party history, but we're going to focus on some state affiliates. And I decided to start with California because I did make that purchase of this very old California newsletter that I figured we would start with. This is the one I picked up on eBay, and then we ended up getting one donated. So it was like I never really had to buy it. So this will be my personal copy, or I'll donate it to the party to use for fundraising or something of the like. But we'll talk about that. Hold on, let me take a sip here. And I think there's something else I wanted to record tonight. I don't recall. I am so tired and exhausted. Tired and exhausted are the same thing. Is that like plots and schemes with Tyrion Lannister? Let me give a little bit of an update of what's going on with my appeal since Monday. People have asked. I think Sunday I did the last update. I am working with some LNC members on a possible compromise as the chair of the Judicial Committee strongly urged that we do. I sent an email immediately after the JC hearing to the party chair to open negotiations. I was ignored. So I said, self, it's really not up to the party chair. It's up to the LNC. But I mean, I didn't even get like a acknowledgement of the email. Like, it was, never mind. Draw your own conclusions. And maybe she didn't get it. It's possible. You know, not everyone gets every email. Like, there's other possibilities. So I started talking with some friendly LNC members to open the door, because it really isn't up to the party chair. It's up to individual LNC members. So we have hashed out a potential agreement that is, I'm not thrilled with it, and I don't think either side will be thrilled with it. That's the point of a compromise. Nobody is thrilled with it, but both sides can live with it. So both sides win and both sides lose a little. That's a good negotiation. So there's a motion hashed out. I don't know where it's at right now, if it has sponsors. It's not on the list yet. So hopefully you guys will see some sort of motion on the list, and you will see that the terms that I agreed to are quite generous for the LNC. Both sides get to win, and both sides have to lose a little bit. Now, I have some people that are very angry with me for even considering this, because, I mean, I do believe I am right. And neither side has to admit one side's right or wrong. I mean, that's just never going to happen, and I believe I'm right. That's not saying I'm perfect. No one in this is perfect. Perfection's not on the table for anyone. But I am willing to do this for the sake of the party. It isn't what's best for me. What's best for me is to win the JC appeal. And honestly, going into the hearing, I thought my chances were really bad, just because the burden of proof is on the JC. After seeing, honestly, how ill-prepared the LNC was, and this isn't, just watch it for yourself and come to your own conclusion. In my opinion, for something as serious as trying to suspend a popular officer, they were very ill-prepared. Could be my bias. I could be wrong. Nobody doubts that my side was very prepared. I feel good about it. I think my chances are better than they were what I thought they were going in. It doesn't mean I think it's more than 50% or anything like that, because the burden of proof is still against me. But I feel better about it than I did walking in. But that doesn't, again, I don't think it's more likely than not because of the burden of proof thing. But what would be best for me personally is to win my JC appeal. What's not best for the party is for either side to win this, because then the divide will remain, and I'm willing to swallow some pride for the good of the party, and put aside what might be best for me for what's best for the party. And you'll see there's other protections in place there if the motion ends up being proposed the way I saw it today. It might get amended since what I saw it today. So that's where we're at. And that's all. As I said, I'm not really going to talk about it except to give you guys updates, but that's about it, because you can watch the hearing for yourself and draw your own conclusions, which is what you should be doing. Justin O'Donnell mirrored the stream. I know the Judicial Committee did not want to stream it, but members can do what they want. A member attending streamed it, and they can do that. They didn't have to sign any kind of agreement or anything like that, because I guess the idea was we don't want the general public to see this, but honestly, the general public does not care. And the ones that do care will have found out anyway. We have no way to keep it to just party members, so they might as well have just streamed it, but they chose not to, so Justin O'Donnell has it on his channel. Of course, there you'll see comments flash across the screen that are from his viewers. This could have been avoided if the LNC had just streamed it itself, because, on someone else's own channel, they're going to have their listener comments come up. They weren't terribly abusive or anything like that. There were some that weren't kind, but it wasn't anything like outrageous. So, and the commentary was kept to a minimum, It was just a mirror. So it's a very good source to go. And if you appreciate Justin doing that, please like and subscribe to his channel. It's a very good channel, but give him the like and the subscribe to thank him. And speaking of like and subscribe, please do so here. It would make me happy, along with the shameless grifting I have along the bottom here. I've never made up my shortfall for October patrons. If you can become a patron, I would truly appreciate it. I think I am also going to start YouTube memberships, but I haven't decided what the different benefits will be. Like, it's weird that there's YouTube like patrons and then Patreon patrons, but I think I decided what I'm going to do. I record my radio shows. I think I'm going to put that for YouTube Club or whatever, they membership people only. And then, and thank you so much, Fidalgo Files. Thank you. Thank you so much. And the Jack in the Box does sound delicious. But thank you that you gave up Jack in the Box for me. Let me put this up here because other people won't know what I'm saying. That Fidalgo gave up Jack in the Box for me. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Even though it's delicious, your heart probably thanks you, but I got a weakness for fast food myself. But I truly appreciate it. So I think I'm going to put my radio shows in the YouTube membership. And for a certain patron level and above, they'll get the, I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. I'm just trying to figure this all out. That's not like my primary concern. Some people are really good at this marketing thing. I'm not. So there it is. But also start to get your t-shirts for conventions. I'm going to be adding some more. And if you have any ideas for t-shirts, let me know. But you can get the merch at that link, which is tinyurl.com/pinkflamemerch. And I wanted to show you CJ Abernathy. First, let me show you the image that's on the shirt because I forgot to reverse it. So it's this image, which is "Say decorum one more time, I dare you," with the Kill Bill thing. I love that shirt. I have that shirt. Here is CJ Abernathy looking wonderful in pink. So if you would like your own Kill Bill style "Say decorum one more time," check it out at tinyurl.com/pinkflame merch. We also have the Notice shirts and the Grab the Pine, Get the Quills. A friend of mine sent me a picture. I'll put that up maybe next show to show you what that shirt looks like on an actual person. But without further ado, let me put that back up, get rid of that. Here we go. We're going to do some California history. It's a brand new series, again, dealing with California. Oh, and guess what we're going to do either later this week or next week? The Right to Ignore the State by Herbert Spencer. As you can tell, this came from like a vintage bookseller. This is how many pages? 14 pages. So I'll scan it so you guys can see it. But I've wanted to go through this for a while. You know, so the right to ignore the state. Alrighty. Let me just, Libertarian Classics Library #1. I wonder if there was a #2 or if they just produced that. But let's get to this. Let me describe it for you first. Well, let's get it on the screen so you can look at it while I'm describing. What? Wrong page. Let me go to the first page of this puppy. Here we go. As you can see, the format of it is very much like LP News, but it's called The Libertarian. I think David Nolan sent them a template because, I mean, this looks exactly like an early LP News. That's originally what I thought it was when I saw it on eBay. But it's volume 1, number 2. I got to drag out somewhere. I think Joe Dean has volume 1, number 1, but we're going to jump around, get you some history. And you guys that are here so late on an unscheduled stream, I'm so glad to have your company. So it's October 72, just called The Libertarian of the California Libertarian Party in Burlingame? I never even heard of that, California. All right. So we're going to go through this. Let me look at that address, though, from the inside. What's Burlingame? Never heard of that city. Okay, well, we'll get to that, I suppose. Alrighty. 1972, Hosper's tour deemed successful. Yay. Oh, and you know what else I was going to do maybe on my YouTube membership? Totally not political. Maybe some more fun stuff. I really enjoy, you guys might not have found this genre of YouTube yet. I've gone down the YouTube hole, like all the weird channels. Not that this is weird, but I've gone down some weird channels. I love the music reaction videos where, your listeners ask you just to listen to, and then you give your first reaction, because music affects me really deeply, and I thought that would be fun on the YouTube membership channel as well. But let's continue with the history, shall we? So and hello there, Titus Pullo, just reminded me of Rome. I loved that character in the HBO series. Anyway, Titus Pullo. Dr. John Hospers, the Libertarian Party presidential candidate, arrived at the Los Angeles International Airport on September 15th after a successful national tour across the country. A large crowd of... just before we get started, trivia. Anyone who's a big fan of Rome, which it was supposed to be like 6 series and seasons, and they boiled it down to 2. That's why the end seems so rushed. But so many of the actors in those HBO and Showtime series are also in Game of Thrones. The guy who played Brutus is the king beyond the wall. And what the crap's his name? The king behind the wall. You know what I'm talking about. Crap, but whatever. The king of the wildling, the chosen king of the wildlings, played Brutus in Rome. The lady who was the wife of Vorenus, the redheaded guy that was the buddy with Titus Pullo, the wife, she is also in Game of Thrones. Mance Rayder, that's it. And I can't remember her name in Game of Thrones either. Lydie, I think, was her name in Rome. But she plays the wife of the guy who got speared through the eyeball by the mountain. And she's the one who kissed the daughter and poisoned her, from Dorne. A lot of people don't realize, because her look is so different. She was the wife of Vorenus in Rome. There's so many crossovers. And if you watched on Showtime The Tudors, there's a crossover there as well. So it's a lot of fun. All right, but we're gonna continue now. But I love watching how these actors and actresses. But by the way, if anyone was a fan of Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles, which I was, and it was driving me crazy for the longest time, Cersei was Sarah Connor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles, the last one that they ended up not filming, not finishing. All right, so just some crossover actresses for you there. But also in The Tudors, the maid to Queen Catherine, who ended up hanging herself, is the sister in Rome to young Octavius. Alrighty, now that I've done all my crossovers, you can tell I love all of those shows. It says a large crowd of excited libertarians greeted him, and he answered their questions about his tour and the response to his tour. Dr. Hospers started his tour on September 5th and visited, this is his national tour, Dallas, Houston, Oklahoma City, Chicago, Boston, Philadelphia, Des Moines, and Denver. In Los Angeles, he gave a 3-hour interview to the area Associated Press representative to be syndicated in the near future. The response following his appearance was indicated best by the flood of mail to the national and state headquarters. In terms of generating interest, the tour was highly successful, and the results have exceeded our most optimistic expectations. Perhaps more important, though, are the deeper effects of Dr. Hosper's trip. Now, this is great. And one more crossover, and then we're done. Marjorie was Anne Boleyn in The Tudors, and I loved her in that. Okay, I promise. Now we are done. Perhaps more important, though, are the deeper effects of Dr. Hosper's trip. Now, with this sentence, you realize where the priority was of the early party, that education was just as important as the actual campaign itself. And I'm sorry those who disagree with me, that is still true today. So over 1,000 copies of his paperback Libertarianism were sold by an eloquent spokesman who clearly stated and defended his stance and principle. The long-term effects are yet to be felt in our society, and judging from the initial response, those effects should be far-reaching. And still, it's just the beginning. Those effects included Ron Paul. Okay? And those effects, not that this is any great thing, I'm just tying history together for you. The 50th anniversary of John Hosper's book, Libertarianism, A New Political Philosophy for Tomorrow, is coming out this month. I have 2 essays in that book. I mean, that's like so thrilling to me. So I'm reading from 50 years ago where this book was first distributed. Now there's this chick just sitting behind a microphone 50 years later who has 2 essays in the 50th anniversary book. And I can't wait to read those essays to you. This will be a temptation for those of you who are patrons. The 2 chapters, one is about my work in unearthing history, which is relatively non-controversial. Believe it or not, there is controversy about my historical work, because libertarians can create controversy about anything. Not even going to get into it. But the second one is maybe the most, or one of the most, it's definitely one of the most, but it's maybe the most controversial subject in libertarianism, and it's on abortion. And everyone gets all lathered up when I talk about abortion. So if you want to read an advance copy of the essay I did on abortion that's in the 50th anniversary, and I am so thrilled, like they thought that my thoughts on such an important topic were worth putting in the 50th anniversary book. It's just so humbling to me. That essay I've reprinted in full on Patreon. So all of my patrons have seen the essay. The essay is not arguing for my position or anyone else's position. The frustration to me in the abortion issue is that most libertarians don't argue from libertarian principles. They argue like they're still Republicans or still Democrats. Both sides. I happen to be of the, I hate saying pro-life because that implies I believe in laws, and I don't. I'm an anarchist, but I mean pro-life as in I think it's an immoral act that takes the life of a rights-bearing human being from the moment of conception. That's my position. I don't believe in any laws for it, but that's my position. And a lot of people who share my position argue still like Republicans. You need to argue like a libertarian if you want to convince libertarians. So few people argue this issue like libertarians, and it drives me crazy. Let me give you, I'm going to whet your appetite so that hopefully you'll want to go read my essay. And I'm going to say something perhaps controversial. And actually, my next radio show for Saturday is going to be on this topic. And maybe I might even read my essay on the radio, but it will be in a YouTube membership. I don't know. But this is the controversial statement. When you're arguing like a libertarian, simply saying, but it's another human being, it's not your body, it's taking the life of another human being, isn't sufficient. It isn't sufficient. Too many quote-unquote pro-life libertarians think they've won the argument when they prove it's a human being and then a human being dies. Sorry, that's not all you need to prove in a libertarian argument. So, I think it's terrible when people start that way and they think they won the argument. Conversely, on the other side, people think that simply saying, you can't force me to use my body to support somebody else. They think that's the end of the argument. My body, my choice. They think that's the end of the argument. It is for a Democrat. It is not a libertarian argument. It's part of a libertarian argument. Same thing for the Republican-ish, the people who came from the Republican side. And I'm not trashing you. I came from the Republican side. Though I really was a rhino, but I'm just saying that was my prior registration. Simply saying it's a life that gets taken. That's only part of the argument. You can't stop there. And I agree with you, Titus, that if you are going to be on the position that I am, oh no, Titus, and I agree with you. I let me put this up here because people don't understand. First, Titus said this, and this is what I'm going to talk about. Life at conception is the only objective metric. We do go astray on these shows sometimes. And then he said, I wasn't saying that wins the argument. Yeah, and I totally get that. I think I get what you're saying. You weren't arguing. You were just agreeing that that's the only logical starting place. And I agree. For those of you who are on my side of the argument, I don't understand any other starting place other than conception, unless you're going to be utilitarian and say somebody gains rights when they gain certain abilities, because the way I do it, and I'm not trying to offend anyone who's not on my side of the position, is, yesterday, was I me? Yes. 5 years ago, was I me? Yes. 20 years ago, was I me? You keep going back. At what point can you say that I wasn't me? Going all the way back to the 20th cell division. Was that me? Yeah, because there's a continuous line to the me that's today. It's an uninterrupted process. It's me at a very early stage of development. But it's still me. It inevitably leads to me. So that's why I do believe that conception is the only objective metric if you're going to hold my particular position. All right, so I hope that whetted your appetite that maybe you'll go over and become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. I am going to be eliminating that tier soon. It will not affect the people who are currently $1 a month, but Patreon sent all the people, they're going to get rid of it. In other words, Patreon said you really need to make your minimums $5, the fees and all the work and whatever. So I know they're getting rid of it eventually, so I'm just going to phase that out. It's something they're going to do. I've been trying to just hold on until they get rid of it, and I don't have a choice because I like to have something that's very, very budget friendly. But continuing. An overview by, I don't know who wrote that first column, it doesn't say, but the second column, it says new headquarters, new chairman, Bill Sussel. Bill Sussel was the first chairman of the Libertarian Party of California. But you notice then they were not called the Libertarian Party of California. I'm going to keep reminding people of this bit of trivia. They were called the California Libertarian Party. I got to find out what year this happened for each of the parties because I think that's interesting. But nearly every state party used to be named the state name and then Libertarian Party. So California Libertarian Party, Colorado Libertarian Party. You get the pattern. But if you notice today, nearly every state party is now named Libertarian Party of State. So Libertarian Party of California, Libertarian Party of Colorado. And the reason for that is the way it's listed on the ballot. You want the word libertarian to appear first, rather than the word California or the word Colorado. That was what I was told, at least why we switched it in Colorado. I'm assuming that's probably true everywhere else. But I'd like to know when that big shift happened. Now, there are still some states, point of trivia, anyone can say it in chat if you can think of any, who still follow the old state Libertarian Party. One of them is Wyoming. Wyoming, Libertarian Party. Arizona, Libertarian Party. I think Missouri is another one. Montana is another one. A lot of them were in Region 1. That's how I know that. Utah is another one. Weirdly enough, Alaska has used both. And they still do. In their governing documents, at some place it says Alaska Libertarian Party, and in other places it says Libertarian Party of Alaska, but I think they prefer Alaska Libertarian Party. If you go to Elpedia, you type in either way, you will find the article, because we have them linked to each other. To me, I just find that bit of history fascinating. Continuing. All right. Since the National Convention in Denver in June, so this is after our first convention, I have been the California State Chairman pro tem, in addition to acting as Dr. Hosper's campaign manager. When I assumed this position, there was no California party, although there were approximately 40 party members. And I want to tell you guys in chat, I so appreciate when you interact with me, even if we go off on rabbit trails. It's awkward sitting down here in the basement just talking to myself and looking at myself in the camera thing. Like, I like feeling like there's actual people and I'm not like sitting here as a crazy person talking into the air. I mean, I am a crazy person, but I'd rather be talking to people, and I enjoy the back and forth. I don't like just hearing myself talk. It says, when I assumed this position, okay, we already did that. We now have several hundred state and national LP members, in addition to a mailing list numbering in the thousands. We have a state chairman, state vice chairman, state finance chairman. They had different kinds of names for their board then. A slate of U.S. electors has been submitted to the Secretary of State, so Dr. Hosper's votes will be counted. The Libertarian Party is here to stay. That back then probably sounded very braggadocio, but 50 years later, here we are, and California is the biggest party. And that's one reason why I am starting with California. And I'm going to be breaking down a lot of states, but there's a lot of material for California. So that's one reason why I'm starting a new series with California. When in early September, I visited the Northern California area, I found a rapidly growing Bay Area organization under the leadership of Alan Kuhn. He assumed the position of California State Chairman. Wait a minute. I thought Bill Sussel was the chairman. So maybe Alan Kuhn was the first one. I'm getting a little bit confused here. I'm going to need to look up on Lpedia who we have down. I might need to correct some historical information. Let me tell you what I do with these newsletters besides go over them with you. Now that it's scanned, I'll convert it to Word, put it up in Wiki text so I can hyperlink names, and then I extract out historical information. So for instance, you read here these two names, Bill Sussel and Alan Kuhn. I will extract them out. I will go to the articles on the California Party, make sure that's listed in the years, and if there's articles for Bill and Alan, I'll put in the titles that they had. So I extract out bits of historical information, and I cannot tell you like how thrilled I get when I find a missing, like we didn't know who the state chairman was in 1974, and now we know. Isn't that interesting? Truth says, and I'm not sure I understand the comment, we have a right to elect, not vote. I'm not sure what you're getting at, but if you want to expand upon that, we can go that way a little bit. I don't think I've seen you here before, so welcome. Please like and subscribe, please. My ego is very wounded right now with everything that's happened to me. Okay. Since Alan's appointment, he has shown a high degree of leadership and ability. Under his direction, the party membership has more than doubled. But of course, they have 40 members, so it went from 20 to 40. I'm not denigrating. I'm just saying when it's small, it's easy to double. I will continue as Dr. Hosper's campaign manager, a full-time position in itself. I did not know Bill was Hosper's campaign manager. That is a bit of information I will extract out and make sure it's noted on Lpedia. Speaking of campaign managers, I need a campaign manager. I actually need two. I need one of them. Well, I'll just tell you the two. I am, of course, rerunning for secretary. Well, either rerunning or running for reinstatement, depending upon what happens with my Judicial Committee appeal. And I need a campaign manager. I managed my last 3 LNC campaigns, and it's hard to manage it yourself. And I sometimes need people to tell me to settle down. I need somebody looking. That's why I didn't represent myself in the initial arguments of the Judicial Committee. I needed somebody else who could look at things calmer and more objectively. I wish DL Cummings would be my campaign manager. I've been trying to hook him into it. So if you're watching this, DL, or anyone, if you're interested, even if you've never done it before, this can be experience for you. I need a campaign manager. Okay. The second campaign manager I need is local. If you're in Colorado, in the Douglas County area, I am running for town council beginning January, and I need a treasurer and I need a campaign manager. That's for local, but if you're in Douglas County, Colorado, these are volunteer positions, by the way. That's just the way it is. But I seriously, seriously need a campaign manager for my secretary campaign. You guys know why, okay? I need someone to keep me in check and to advise me and to be a friend more so. I'm going to backtrack because some friends of mine might be getting insulted. I actually did have campaign managers on the other two, but they really only served the friend function. They didn't run my campaign, but they were a shoulder for me to cry on. They were somebody who would hold my hand when I was feeling very nervous or when I was upset because somebody insulted me on stage, and I do not believe in negative campaigning. So they served the friend function, and that is Sarah Daggers, who did wonderfully, and Risa Willis, who did wonderfully. But I need like a campaign manager that will fulfill more than just the friend function this time. You know, someone who will help plan out the rest of my campaign. It's great first experience to do an internal campaign if you're interested. Also, social media. I need a social media manager, but that's not as important as a campaign manager. I don't need a treasurer. I handle my own finances, and I'm pretty good at being very transparent on those. All right, continuing. Many thanks to those who worked alongside me and provided the essential support during the early rough stages. Without their valuable contributions of time and money, the CLP, meaning California Libertarian Party, and Colorado was also called the CLP, would never have survived. With Ellen's continued support, I'm sure the party will survive and grow. Julian says, let me put up here. I was actually thinking perhaps of running for LA Mayor. I don't know the first thing about running, though. Talk to Kara Schultz at National. I don't know if they recorded any of their training sessions. When I ran for internal office, I didn't know anything about running either. A lot of it's very intuitive and watching other campaigns. You're selling a product, and the product is yourself. Here's a point of trivia about me. People do not know why I have pink hair. I dyed my hair pink when I was beginning to think about potentially being involved in libertarian leadership, and I realized I was a nobody. I was brand new. Nobody knew me. It's very difficult to make a name for yourself, and people don't remember names very well. But you want to know what they do remember? They remember the pink-haired lady who walks around with a Liberty crown. People think like I don't know what I'm doing, or that I just, I think I'm still 20 years old or whatever it was. I love pink. It's not that I didn't love it, but I dyed my hair to brand myself, to have a brand that people would remember. And look now. Now it's even part of my branding for my YouTube station. I'm not stupid. I knew exactly what I was doing. I know some people won't agree with what I was doing. And I know the phrase, I know what I'm doing, will trigger someone on the LNC. But with this, I know what I'm doing. And it's been successful. Daniel Hayes nailed it before I even explained it. He nailed it. He knew that this was marketing. I know how to market. All right. And that's it, Julian. You need to have some kind of personal branding. It's really good if you have a branding that can carry through beyond your election like I did with this. But sometimes the branding you come up with will be specific to that campaign. For instance, Daniel Fishman, when he was running for auditor in Massachusetts, would wear a referee, that stripe, that black and white striped not jacket, but shirt, you know what I'm saying? And he would say an auditor has to judge between the Democrats and the Republicans who are in power. Do you want a referee to be a member of one of the teams? Elect me. I'm not a member of either of the teams. And it was very clever marketing. Now, of course, that only lasted for that one campaign, but it was very, very clever. So let's see here. Let me put up Truth Faction gave some more info. Voting is secret, election is voiced. You had to get in the right line, and union bosses made sure guys like Bill the Barber made sure, so they went secret. Correct. And they also went to the Australian ballot, which is a pre-printed ballot provided by the state. But that's when third parties died. When we went to the official ballot. It used to be that various groups would provide ballots. And you could handwrite in things, of course. We might get into that a little bit someday. I actually don't believe voting should be secret. I know I'm in the minority in that. I think everyone should be accountable for their vote. And they go, well, there'll be intimidation then. Well, then grow a backbone. My personal opinion. I don't think voting should be secret. And in Colorado, we have very few secret votes, and even our delegates have to disclose when they come back how they voted on everything. All right, let's get back here. Let's do the next page. I have this little Stream Deck thing, and I never use it. I got to learn how to... see, it does everything for me. So, up in the upper right, you say the Libertarian is the newsletter of the California Libertarian Party, and there's the address. I will extract that address out to make sure we've preserved that this was one of the addresses of the California Libertarian Party, as well as the editor, the associate editor, who I guess is now the chair, Alan Kuhn, or he was the prior chair. I still haven't figured that chronology out. And the production manager, who's Lloyd Taylor. And you see down at the bottom, laissez-faire, which was a slogan of the early party, and that arrow thing. For those of you who don't know, I cover a lot here that some people, it's new, and a lot of you have heard this before. That bar with the arrow going up to the right like that is the original logo of the party, because the Nolan chart didn't used to be a diamond. It was a square. So I'm trying to find something here that's square. This book is more square. So the Nolan chart right now is like this. It's a diamond. That's not good right there. Okay, with Libertarian up at the top, Authoritarian at the bottom. You get it. But it used to be right like this. And Libertarian used to be the upper right-hand corner. So that's why the symbol was the straight bar with the bar going that way. Now that you know, and that thing is called the Liber sign, or Liber sign, Liber sign. Alrighty, let's continue. Get it done. Yay, I like getting things done. Political action, how to do it. News from Santa Cruz. News from Santa Cruz. It rhymed. I don't think he meant to do that, but okay. By Donald Atkinson, Coastal Counties Chairman. I wonder if they had like an affiliate called the Coastal Counties. It's a new term for me, for them. Our local library requested Libertarian Party literature for their document department. I took them a September copy of Reason, which covered the Libertarian... Check this out. Let's look at that Reason article. But I love finding typos in these old newsletters because it was so difficult to correct, for one thing. They didn't have spell check. Like, these people, we think, like, we aren't writers or typists. You know, when we're on our computer and Word corrects stuff for us and we got all these tools. These people did this on a typewriter, okay? Mad props. But he called it the Libertarina Party by accident. He flipped the N and the A, if you see that in the first paragraph. That would be a cute name for a baby daughter, Libertarina. And you could call her Tina or Tarina or Libby. Wouldn't that be great? Libertarian would be a great name for a kid. Now I'm thinking it's more of a girl's name only because the abbreviations like Libby is more... Well, no, Libby has been a boy's abbreviation too. Could be either. It's kind of like Trinity. Trinity could be a boy or a girl's name. So, Libertarina Party Convention, which had special articles Dr. Hospers had written. Why is there commas? This guy didn't know how to punctuate. See, look at that. Which had special articles Dr. Hospers, comma, had written, comma. That's kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe that's right. And other pieces by that regular on KGO, John Eason Show, Bill Sussel, and a 3-page printing of the LP platform. Wow, they put the whole platform in Reason. We're going to need to look that up. Do I have that here? We might go look in a minute. Yeah, and Truth Faction is noting in chat, yeah, the union bosses used to really control elections. Tammany Hall and all of that. I also include, what packet? Oh, the packet to the library. I also included in the packet 3 copies of the platform, some gold flyers, and important information pertaining to the Santa Cruz chapter of the LP. The librarians asked where they could purchase a copy of Libertarianism by John Hospers and Radical Libertarianism by Jerome Tusil. I have that book. We're going to go through that one day. I directed them to our local bookstores. Then I proceeded to the bookstores to tell them the library would be asking for copies of books. They immediately ordered 5 copies each from the California headquarters. They were particularly interested in getting the books for their store when I gave them a copy of Dr. Hosper's tentative itinerary for the weekend of October 13th, 14th, and 15th. Notice how he hyphenated weekend. I wonder if that was standard back then. There were a lot more hyphenated words before digital word processing to make it more graceful to end. You know, we don't have to hyphenate now. We have automatic pagination. And it's funny the way, not funny, I mean, it's nostalgic almost, isn't it? The way he had to go to the bookstore, they had to order the books ahead of time. Right now, you go hear a speaker, you're like, oh, I want their book. You have it on Amazon, from Amazon the next day. I have a once a week mailing, which goes out to everyone who shows some interest in the county. Ernest Stradley of Scotts Valley, we're going to extract that name out, a member of the party, sorry, donated a mimeograph machine. You youngsters don't know what a mimeograph machine. Let's look up this. Hold on one second. I want to see if we can get a photo of a mimeograph machine. So I'm going to go here. Just give me 1 second. Listen, that was the drugs of kids who got to go to the office to pick up the mimeograms for the teachers. If you ever smelled a mimeogram, it's wonderful, and you'll never forget that smell. It's almost like the smell Play-Doh, like will bring back nostalgia. But you youngsters who've never smelled a mimeograph, you don't know what you're missing. Okay, I want to find a good picture of a mimeograph here that really, these pictures kind of suck. Well, we're going to put this one up here. Let me see. Here we go. Let me share my screen. So here we go. Show Improve, Cultural Database, mimeograph. So there's it coming out of the little hopper, but it was blue. And it was so you know how a photocopy, unless it's a color one, will print in black. Mimeographs printed in blue. And boy, was it wonderful. It says a mimeograph's an old machine used to make copies. We also referred to it as a ditto machine. Yes. Often the copies themselves were called mimeographs. Yes. The original was typed on a white sheet of paper and was lined with a sheet of waxy purple ink and then run through the machine. Very old machines had to be cranked by hand. So a machine that ran on its own was the latest technology. Like with magic markers, we loved that fresh, off-the-press smell. Oh my God, it was wonderful. It was the only nice thing about having an exam. If you're in chat or watching this later, if you ever smelled a mimeograph, you know. Additional images. Let's see what this one looks like. Yep, there it is. Alrighty, so there you go. Look at the cassette. Now I'm going to go down this rabbit hole. I'm going to have to, I've never buy the book. Now I'm curious. Show Improve hardcover. What is this book about? It doesn't look like it's about inventions. That's what I thought it was about. Huh. All right. Anyway, let's continue. See how I go down these rabbit holes? I don't know. I know what I did before the internet. I lived in the library and bugged the hell out of the reference librarian because I would do the same thing, just jump from thing to thing. But let's get back to the mimeograph. Donated. Oh, we need to go here. Donated a mimeograph machine to headquarters, which will help immeasurably to get our forms duplicated. On Friday, September 22nd, I spoke to a gathering of YAF, which is Young Americans for Freedom, people. I was able to pick out individuals interested in the libertarian movement, and I think we're going to hear some libertarian rhetoric from the college and university campuses this year. In fact, I am sure of it. I think the most important thing I've accomplished, however, has been a banner I put over my bathroom mirror that says, "Get it done." Another point of trivia. I love historical trivia. When I worked at a law firm that represented Allstate, big insurance company corporation, and they get very ossified and set in their ways. They had a policy, that prohibited blue pens. Yes, the purple roller copies, Truth Faction. They prohibited blue pens because that policy was from the days of mimeograph machines, where if you wrote on the mimeograph, you couldn't always tell the difference between the blue pen and the blue/purple ink. So they could only use black pens. They never changed the policy. Then Xerox machines came out, and now the black pen is what blends in, and they should have made it so you couldn't use black pens and you could only use blue. That's just something about, corporate, how they get thing. But I'll never forget that story that I was told by the Allstate adjuster. I solved the problem by using pink pens and purple. I used to like purple pens a lot too. It's official, so we're going to the next column. How to register, how to write in a vote. Edmund G. Brown Jr., Secretary of State, has informed the Libertarian Party that votes for Dr. Hospers and Tony Nathan will be counted as an official write-in candidate, and they will be published as such. Brown has also notified all county registrars of voters that people wishing to register as Libertarian are properly exercising their rights to do so, and that it is, quote, a violation of the election code by the state, end quote, which weird periods and all kinds of, you can tell he wrote in those quote marks with a pen. It wasn't on the typewriter. That little single quote is from a pen if you look closely. To be refused such a right. Anyone may register Libertarian through any county office, agency, needs an Oxford comma, or deputy registrar legally entitled to perform such services. Anyone may write in a vote for Dr. Hospers and Tony Nathan. The easiest method is to request an absentee ballot from your county election office, fill it out, be sure to spell all names correctly, and mail it back. Another method is to obtain a write-in vote application where you vote on election day. They're not always available, however. Fill it out and hand it in. The lack of an Oxford comma is deeply disturbing me, particularly since back then it was required. And Truth Faction says he ran a mimeograph in elementary. You don't need to say, but I'm wondering how old you are. If you're the same age as me, I ran one in elementary school as well. I don't even know exactly how old I am, to be honest with you. I'm somewhere in my 50s. I stopped counting at 25, and it was my birthday Monday, and I didn't even pay attention to how old I was. Next page. Oh, come on. Where's the next page on this thing? Here we go. Students! And look at that fancy font he put up there. Or that took to change fonts when you're doing a newsletter like this, which was all like taped to paper. We're so spoiled today. That was quite fancy pants. One of the most important areas in which libertarian politicking should be done is on the college campus. And thank you, Julian. It was the day after the Judicial Committee hearing. This really has been sucky. And we're broke, so, I didn't even get a present. Wayne will buy me a present later. It's not like, but, yeah. Yeah, anyway. It was hard. It was a hard month. If you haven't seen the Judicial Committee hearing, you can only hear how big of a piece of shit you are so many times before it does get to you. There is an intellectually oriented, supposedly, segment of the population is selectively gathered and readily available to a relatively inexpensive and non-laborious program. So he took a dig at college students there, basically, because what he said is, go to college campuses. They're supposedly intellectually oriented. As a student, a multitude... all right. So he's speaking to other students, or to students if he's not a student. Okay, whoever David Morrison is. As a student, a multitude of facilities are at your fingertips that your college will be more than glad to let you use. If you're willing to put some work toward procuring your freedom, you are in a fine place to do it. I am attending, so it's another student, the College of San Mateo, and I've been amazed at what a small amount of effort can do. I've published articles in the school newspaper, started a Libertarian club, which makes available to me a rent-free room to meet in every week, access to college printing facilities, publicity avenues, and a part in the student council on activities. And that's all still true today, I'm sure. And generally, having a grand old hell-raising time with a minimum of effort. That's great. But, listen, I'm a shameless grifter, according to the LNC, who profiteers. I love how D.L. Cummings, was it D.L. Cummings that put it this way? Yeah, he defined profiteering, and he didn't say it, but he said it, and it was funny. Listen, if what I'm doing on this channel is profiteering, everybody, it's boomers, okay? It's boomers who think if you get super chats here and there, or you have some subscribers that you're like, they don't realize, there are people who make $1 million a year on YouTube, literally, or multi-millions. I want to introduce them to PewDiePie. They think because I have 3,000 something subscribers that I'm a big deal. They don't realize this is a tiny channel. I am not profiteering. Out of ad revenue on YouTube, I make about $10 a month on ads, okay? They just don't understand how YouTube works at all if they think I'm profiteering. And my Patreon numbers are absolutely public, and I would be more than glad to disclose every month what I get in super chats, because anyone could watch the videos and see them come up. I don't keep secrets. I'm very grateful. It's a nice part-time job for me right now, but I'm certainly not profiteering, okay? I have to go sell my plasma. That's how I make extra money, because I'm trying to turn this into something full-time, but it's not. So I go every 3 days and sit there for 2 hours while they suck out my blood. I'm at that point of desperation. I'm not profiteering here. I'm profiteering more from my plasma. It's just so funny to hear them say it. And it's so boomer, and it's also, to me, so entitled that they don't realize, most people aren't independently affluent to just serve on the LNC. A lot of us live a very hard scrabble life where we're making ends meet barely and making money how we can, That's why I joke about the grifting. I work hard. The amount of time I put into this channel is tremendous. Not only enjoy it, I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. I'm not doing it for the money. It's nice to get paid, but I would be doing it anyway. Let me see here. Oh, the planes with the smiley face. So, Truth Faction said he's 43. Okay, so I'm about more than 10 years older than you, but not 15. I think I'm 55. I don't know how fuck I'm old. I was born in 67, so you guys can figure it out. My school was adopted by PSA Airlines. I think United absorbed them, the planes with the smiley face. Maybe you remember Yellowbird, I think it was called Airlines. I used to love them. They had the yellow planes. I was a kid, that you pick why you like things for certain reasons, that have to do with the color of the airplane. If you are a student and interested in campus libertarian activities, contact me, David Morrison, at the California headquarters, and I'll send you some pointers and whatever literature or even funds you may need to get going. If you need a speaker or anything from the main party in California, I'm the man to contact. So get in touch with me, and we'll coordinate our activities, exchange ideas and methods, and offer one another moral support. I'll keep you informed as to what is happening in the overall college scene and who is in your area and who may be visited. Let's get it going. Those of you who are my patrons know that we're going through Radicals for Capitalism right now as the bonus content. This fits in so well. It was so different than, even today we're in the minority, but back then, like when you met another libertarian, it was like seeing the chupacabra, and you too were immediately drawn because it was such a minority. So the camaraderie that you hear, the invitations in here, it's different than today. We do have that sense of community, but it's not the same. It's not the same as it was then, where two unicorns met. All right, event tours with that fancy font. Campaign tours. Campaign manager Bill Cecil has announced the following tour schedules for Dr. Hospers and Tony Nathan as this election year nears to an end. And it gives dates here in October and November, and they were going through California, Oregon. Hospers was from California. Tony Nathan was from Oregon. Washington, look at the way they abbreviated Washington. W-N. Isn't that weird? And look how they abbreviated Texas as T-S. Did that used to be the abbreviation? Yeah, I know they take 35% off the super chats, but I'm grateful for them. Sometimes people ask me, because they want to make sure I get it all, how to do things otherwise. And I have down on my low bar the Venmo, crypto, whatever, which, again, then there's no 35%. But the one good thing about doing it through YouTube is they also take taxes out. So I don't find myself with a tax bill at the end of the year, because when you're doing like this independent kind of stuff, you've got a plan to pay the tax man. And YouTube takes it out because you have to give them your social and all that crap. I think Patreon doesn't. No, they don't take the taxes out, but they report you. All right, so TS. When were the abbreviations for the states standardized? Because this is weird to me. TS as an abbreviation for Texas? Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, New York, Michigan, New Mexico, and Colorado Springs, Colorado. Colorado Springs, Colorado, I've learned a lot about it being the epicenter of the libertarian movement up through the early 70s. There was a newspaper mogul who had a big newspaper that was ran by Robert Lefebvre, whose name I always mispronounce, in Colorado Springs. Like hardcore anarchist. There was a libertarian anarchist school here in Colorado Springs that was ran by him. Like, there is so much history here in Colorado Springs as the epicenter. And now I say here, Colorado Springs is to the south of me, about 35 minutes, but close enough. I live in Castle Rock. Which sounds very Game of Thrones, doesn't it? When I was in Florida and I was moving here, my boss said to me, "Where are you moving?" And I'm like, "Castle Rock." And he's like, "Castle Rock?" I'm like, "No, not that one." All right, so then Hospers in San Francisco, and it gives what he's doing. I'm not going to read out all of that, but you can take a look at it. $15 per plate for a fundraising dinner. That's inexpensive. And $2 for Hyatt House in Burlingame, and notice they doubled the G by accident, because I noticed on the page before there's only one G in Burlingame. I'm such a copy editor with these things. Ooh, but look at this. Live on the Jim Dunbar show. I'm going to look on YouTube to see if that show, there's people who put up these old shows. Wouldn't it be cool if that was something that got recorded? So, in short, though, on the super chat thing, I'll take it. I always get thrilled at super chats because, I'm whoring for the money. This is my part-time job. Southern California Organizational Meeting. Dr. Hospers and Ed Crane, Southern California Vice Chairman, will greet members and other interesteds. I've never seen that word used as a noun that way in the plural. Interesteds. Normally it's an adjective. I like that. At an organization meeting slated for October 12th, 1972. So, and we're talking about October to October. It's pretty cool how we're in the same month. It will be held in the Roosevelt Room of the Alexandria Hotel. Literature will be available. All right. Now it's only, 4-page newsletter. But this is nice for October of 72. Brand new party. All right. Last page. Address by David Morrison at the first Northern California Libertarian meeting, September 2nd, 1972. So I will extract that out, that was the first meeting. That will now be in Elpedia. If you all, I just realized that a lot of you here might not be familiar with Elpedia. So just give me 1 second, because I should be promoting Elpedia every single time, because obviously you're interested in history if you're here. Oh, I can't do it this way. Need to go here to this screen, and now share my screen. Okay, so this is Elpedia. It's using the same software as Wikipedia, Media Wiki. So it's a wiki, but that's where the similarities end. And you will find all this stuff I discuss here, unless it's something from my personal collection, but I try to make things from my personal collection up here as well. And it's my hope that other people would take materials and do shows on it. Like, this isn't something that's just my gig. This is out here for anyone to use. So for instance, if we were to look up the Libertarian Party of California, I don't like the Google results. Right here, Libertarian Party of California. Here's the article on it. So you can see all the current information. And what I'm looking for here is past chairs, because we were talking about that. All right, look, there's a name we didn't even hear before. So apparently at some point, John Taylor was a chair. Then you had William Sussel, who's Bill Sussel, we just discussed, pro tem. Then Alan Kuhn. All righty. So this is like all the information we are extracting out. So you'll also see, if we go up here, publications, and you can see here's The Libertarian. And it says there was only these issues. Look, there is no volume 1, number 1. So this one I have in my hand is the first one we've been able to find. And so if you guys wanted to look at this yourself, without relying on my YouTube thing, it's right here. It's all publicly available. All right. And we'll be going over the next one in another show, but it looks like it only had 2 issues. And then there was another one called Libertale. And look at that old-fashioned title, where there was a couple issues. And Caliber, which is for California Libertarian, that's a clever name, began in 73. And there's a bunch of Calibers. So you can see, there was quite a few. There's actually more than that, I think. But you can see like these question marks. So people are filling in history. So I would encourage you to use Elpedia as a resource. It's as it says over to the side, this is a collaborative history of the Libertarian Party. But like Wikipedia, it's member submissions. You don't even have to be a member. It's the public. Register, get an account, and start editing. Make an article about yourself if there isn't one. For instance, now, I'm very active in the party. Not that many people are going to have as extensive, but I use this as my Libertarian Party resume. So when I go to apply for committees, I just send them to my Elpedia page, because I've documented my whole history here. You can see all these positions I've held here. And there's all kinds of pictures. And I've documented all the crap I've done. Here. And now the suspension from the Libertarian National Committee, which sucks. I got to update this, though, because there's more information. All right? So, create an article for yourself. I would highly, highly encourage it. I can help you with that if you would like to do that. Okay, let's go back to the broadcast here. Let me just minimize this. I need to get an interesting desktop and go back to where we were. Okay, so please use LPedia, register, get an account, edit away. Now, where were we here? All right, we were going to read this address. For the past several years, I have watched the tragic progression of the young movement that began as a thing called objectivism. Remember, objectivism is the libertarian, I'm going to put it in quotes because she didn't use that word, but the freedom philosophy movement started by Ayn Rand. At first dominated by the genius and eloquence of Ayn Rand, I watched it break apart into 1,000 warring factions that were more vehement in their attacks upon one another than on the totalitarianists. That's a new word. Why not just totalitarian? Totalitarians. But by the way, I learned through Radicals for Capitalism that objectivism broke up because of Nathaniel Branden and Ayn Rand's extramarital sexual affair ending. Basically, that's really why it broke up. She never really got over that, and it just tore the movement apart. But totalitarianists, that's very long, they were all against. And aren't we still doing this today? As somebody had said when the LNC was going after me, if only you hated the state as much as you hate your secretary. I saw Rand becoming a target for anyone claiming intellectual independence, as if the initiation for independence required slandering her. Wow, that is sad. We still do that today. I think all movements do, that you get like cred, you get status by bringing down whoever the celebrity is at that time. There are people who are looking for clout by tearing me down. And it sucks. It really does. I wish this isn't a libertarian thing. This is a human thing. I saw her indulge in vicious attacks herself. She certainly did. And I'm sure I have. I'm not perfect. And my respect and admiration for her became strained. Well, she was human, dude. I watched the emergence of the acquiescent objectivist. I don't think acquiescent is the right word there. Doesn't acquiescent mean you're agreeing to something reluctantly? Hold on. Because I don't think that's the right word. Those of you who are word geeks like me, does that sound like the right word to you? Acquiescent. That's not a word you use much either, but I want to see if I have it. Ready to accept something without protest, to do what someone else wants. Okay, exactly. Okay, acquiescent. I thought I had that right. But it doesn't seem right here. Oh, maybe it does. It's talking about somebody tolerating something. Okay. The acquiescent objectivist who tried to adapt to an unlivable and intolerable system. And the armchair revolutionary. And the... Oh, my God. We wouldn't be saying these words in newsletter today. And the nitpicking, dogmatic, intellectual masturbator. I just lost monetization for this video. And the whole 50 cents. And the dreamer of economic collapse and gulches. The patient ones who wait for the objectivist judgment day. It's very dramatic. I saw that I was one and alone, while my enemies were many. I could only talk while they could dictate. And of what good are my words when my income, my property, and my very life are legally at the disposal of my enemies? I thought that I could expect no help, for those who should have been my allies were too busy bickering, dreaming, or giving up in bitterness and frustration. Boy, God, I feel this here. Dude, 50 years later, I feel you. Then I was introduced to the Libertarian Party. Well, actually, I was introduced to the Libertarian Party first, and then all that happened. I like to joke. I used to have hobbies. I used to have a life. I used to do this. Then I got involved in the Libertarian Party. The end. It's a joke with fondness, because I do love the party. My first reaction was my usual. I love the party way more probably than I should. My first reaction was my usual one, that politics were for those with stronger stomachs and more flexible principles than mine. But I considered it, for I was beginning to glimpse what lay at the end of the way I was taking, and well should I consider any other alternative than revolution. Amen. Oh, and I want to tell you guys a cool story. At the Tom Woods event, there was this great, and I'm sorry I forget names. If you're watching, please forgive me, and I'm tired. But I can picture you right now. I'm like so much better at picturing people. Names escape me. But this wonderful woman who had come to me helped me carry my bags like all day, like just a wonderful person. And she said that she's a hardcore anarchist and joined the Libertarian Party just because of me. And some people say all I do is drive people away. Here's the thing. When you hear people driving people away or bringing people in, you want to know what? That's just natural. Everyone's going to bring people in. Everyone's going to drive someone out. You can't stress over that. And if someone leaves a party just because of one person, they weren't equipped to handle the state, really. If you can't handle one pink-haired, mouthy person in Colorado, you've got bigger problems than me. I began to see political activism not as a means to having a small say in choosing who rules my life, but as a call to arms for all those who are one and alone, who want to put an end to rule. I began to see it as a vehicle of getting out the truth, of doing the crucial thing that needs to be done, to ignore the differences and concentrate on the one thing we all have in common, a love of freedom. Let it be known that we exist. They were so lonely back then. Oh, and I see Truth says, you're going to rent my... This is a weird sentence, Truth Faction. I'm going to rent my rental out at $550. I'm assuming maybe you got like an extra room or something. I wish I had that here. Like, we have too much shit in the basement. It'd be great to turn this into a rental. Like, because we've got a huge... I'm not going to say huge, but it's a big... it's a full basement. So, the entire footprint of the home. Okay, continuing. And we demand our rights. Let us come out of our armchairs and coffee shops and ivory towers and get on with what we've been hashing over the years? We'll be hashing over the years? Okay. These issues are not matters of convenience or academic principles. They are concerned with life and death, achievement or agony. Oh, I like that choice of words. For me, they mean 5 years in prison, exile, or death in a senseless foreign war. To another, it means massive fines and perpetual slavery, an answer to reluctance to volunteer income tax. Sentence is bad. To another, it means he needs semicolons and, like, this is just... Sorry, copy editor and me is going nuts. I'm lost where I'm at now. To another, it means having his life's work restricted, priced, impounded, or given away. To another, years of toil devoted to an unwanted child? How the hell does that fit in there? Is he talking about like child support? Dude, you bring a child into the world, you gotta support it. I mean, unless like you were tricked or something, but I mean, I don't know. That's like a weird thing to put in there. To another, 12 years of dreary, boring, droning indoctrination. To another, years in jail for indulging in personal pleasures in no way harmful to others. To another, watching his life savings disappear with inflation. The list goes on forever. There can be no doubt that the time to act is now. The redcoats are not coming. They are here. Actually, I'd put it the brown shirts, right? Let us put an end to our impotence of arrogance and the supposed purity of our ideologies, and he spelled that wrong, and draw to us our allies in spirit, the freak on the street, who wants to do his own trip, the small businessman being crushed by big government and their partners in crime, big business, who vaguely and inarticulately wants. Okay, subject-verb agreement here. They want, so it would be want. It shouldn't be singular. Sorry, not sorry. Only to make his product and earn his living. The worker who watches in silent anger his earnings dribble away into the pockets of bureaucrats. If, as we think, we know the answers, know the words, then let us stop patting each other on the back for it while the world collapses into slavery about us. Let's get it out where it's needed and start doing instead of talking. Think about how much freer in a lot of ways he was then and how angry he is about it. Now, I say in some ways because the draft was the draft still going on in October 72? It might have just ended. But this college student would have seen his friends, I own you, I own you, I own you, sent off to Vietnam to die. The terror of that still, it haunts me. I can't imagine being a young man. I know I say this all the time, but I ask, put yourself. You're a young man growing up. You're an 18-year-old young man. Your life is ahead of you. And you know, we're talking more 71, 70, any day the government could say you. To do the Game of Thrones illusion, remember when they were at Harrenhal and they're all in that pen and the tickler was going to point out one of them to stick the rats on their belly, you know, and, you know, they're all just standing there and he's like, that's exactly how I picture the feeling you must have had. To know you just grew up. You're just starting your life. And the government can say, I own you, and send you overseas to kill people you don't know and be killed. And imagine being that parent. The mother. It's like, was my womb just a factory for war? I don't know. That whole thing, the Vietnam era and conscription, haunts me. Just absolutely haunts me. Okay, so now the last sentence, I had gone away and read it because there's something a little bit humorous in here. As a pacifist, it kind of makes me a little, I'm a libertarian pacifist. I know that's not required by libertarianism. People freak out over that. We could talk about it some other time, but I like bringing it up. Patrick Henry, because I'm going to say something controversial. Not to insult anyone. I'm just saying my opinion. I think it takes a whole lot more strength and courage to be a pacifist than to be someone willing to kill to defend your life. There's a certain kind of resolve and strength in pacifism that to me is very noble. I aim for that. I haven't yet gotten there. I have a lot of aggression in me. When we went and did paintball, man, I sprayed. I only got hit 4 times, okay? And we had played 12 games of it. And I nailed everyone else because this pacifist had a lot of aggression to get out of her. So the paintball was like, oh, man. That was a lot of fun, though. All right, so let's finish up here. Patrick Henry stated a false alternative 200 years ago that lies, it should be lays, I think, heavily upon the minds of freedom lovers today. We should end the feeling of personal impotence by leading the way and presenting the true alternative. Now, the thing here that's kind of funny but makes me like kind of wince a little as a pacifist was funny. Our job is not to die for our cause, but to make that dumb bastard over there die for his. It's funny. I don't want anyone to die. It's funny. And then there's a little footnote. Paraphrased remark attributed to General George Patton. I thought this was a really good newsletter. I would have been proud to put this out. And imagine someone at home was on a typewriter. You remember the carriage? You had to hit that thing and it went. Very few mistakes. A lot less than I would have done. Have you ever tried typing on a typewriter? It's not easy. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope California people come to this California series I'm doing to start adding to California history. I'm going to concurrently do a few more states that have a lot of material that I can find. But this isn't going to be a one-off. I'm just going to continue going with California. Hold on one second. I want to go around. I have a big desk here. And for those of you who don't know, it was a desk that was patented in 1897. This is like a vintage. It goes beyond vintage. So 1897, man, that's a long time ago. Give me one sec. I want to go to the other side of the desk because I want to see if I have that Reason magazine right around the corner that he talked about here. I'm just curious. One second. If I have those Reasons down here, and I think I do. Let's see. Let me bring my whole pile of crap. All right, here I come. Here I'm back. I should have I'm going to make a graphic screen. All right. So let me see. And it has these great little drawers. I wish y'all could see this desk. It's so fantastic, and I got it for free. So did he say September? So we have December 71, February, May, October. I'm missing September. Okay, I'll be on the search for that. Because look here, I've got, can't see very well, August 72 Reason, and October. Missing September. So I'll be on the lookout for that. Now that I know we want to... Oh, wait! Look! I must have stuck it in the back. I'm glad I didn't go trying to buy it. September 72. Well, let's... I don't even know how this thing here works. We'll do a separate, maybe, episode on this. But I want to see what he was talking about. Libertarian Party Politics and Issues, an introduction, remarks on the occasion of the founding of the California Libertarian Party. We'll do that. This fits right in with what we're doing. And let me see if it talks about the convention. Yeah, Denver Convention, the platform. So let's go to page 34. Yeah, we're going to go over this issue of Reason. I want to see if I can pull it out. Yeah. All right. So we're going to go over this. And I bought this from like eBay or used bookstore, but this is from Joseph Toland of Massachusetts. If you're ever out there, Joseph, or you know him, I've got your Reason magazine. So page 34. So there's a whole article on the convention. Then here's the 1972 platform. Printed in here. An editorial. And all kinds of ads for John Hosper's books. Movie reviews. Maybe there's some libertarian movies we can find out about. Libertarian posters. Oh my God. I gotta show you this poster. I'm gonna... Graphic artists out there. Maybe I'll beg Top Lobster. My camera's kind of like over here. I want to put this close enough so you can see it. Right there. See the Statue of Liberty flying the black anarchy flag? I'm not a black flag anarchist. I am a yellow and black. I want this on a t-shirt to sell. It doesn't, the Statue of Liberty holding an anarchy flag. Or something along those lines. I might think of something a little bit different and make it a pink Statue of Liberty. Top Lobster, you're my only hope. That is great. So, man, look at so libertarian posters. And the back is something put out by the Libertarian Party. Say no to both, which is McGovern and Nixon, which we learned a lot about. On my Patreon, we go through books. So we read through a book called January 1972, man, so much happened that month. The Vietnam War ended. I can't remember the name of the prior president that died. Watergate scandal really, really broke out. It was going on before, but the trials of the initial conspirators, including B. Gordon Liddy, and Chuck Colson and all that, those were going on, and Roe versus Wade. So much happened in January 72. It is crazy amazing how much had happened. We also are, and now we're going through Radicals for Capitalism, which we are learning a lot. I love that book. After that, I think we're going to go through the problem of political authority. All right, so let me just flip through here, see what else is in here. I think we're going to start going through some Reason magazines, too. You learn so much just by going through these histories. Remarks on the occasion. Okay, Libertarian. All righty. Let's just look at this first part here. Reason this month has expanded its format to bring to our readers insight into the new Libertarian Party. All right, this will be something we will do very soon. The old Reason magazines, I love them. I know a lot of people have issues with Reason. I have a lot of issues with Cato. I get it. But generally, I mean, there's some bad takes, but I think any publication has some bad takes. I love Reason. I don't consider them Beltway libertarians. I don't know why people do. Maybe you can point out, change my mind. I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased because I'm friends with some of the writers and editors, and maybe that's biasing me. I don't know. But I love Reason. I don't get why people call them treason. I don't get it. I love them. Some other things we might go through, I like showing you guys. Oh, but as proof, again, already against the next mandate, I did it. I'm the one who gave that idea to the Libertarian Party. Okay, just so you know. Because some people think I'm making that shit up. What else do we have here? Man, I got all kinds of loose papers. We got a January 73 Reason. June 72. We might go through this as well from Outlook magazine. And here's August 72. And these I bought I don't even want to tell you how much I paid for them. Because it's this old zines. I don't even know what's in them, but they're libertarian. And one day, we're going to drink and do the Libertarian Party coloring book. Yes, I do have the... You don't believe me? You don't believe there's a Libertarian Party coloring book? There's a Libertarian Party coloring book. Let me show you. Let's find a good... this is so sad, though, actually, isn't it? It's just funny to me. Ooh, there's a crossword puzzle in here. But let me find some pictures you might recognize. I mean, really, what kid's going to want to color this? Okay, it says, free markets and personal freedom build success globally, $, prosperity, abundance, make money, a cash register. This is, look at this coloring book. But we're gonna do some coloring one day. I just think that's funny. Reason, August 77, March 73. Another Outlook. We've got this rare, because there's not very many of these, of Against the Wall. I don't know what year this is. Well, it's in the 80s, because it talks about the 1980 Clark campaign, so it can't be earlier than that. All right, and then I got some holiday decorations. Check this out. Pink reindeer head. But I don't do reindeer until after Thanksgiving. That is my rule. Okay, guys, I think that is it. I thank you earlier for the super chat. I know I joke a lot, but this is, in fact, my steady job. And I am trying to do liberty activism and historical liberty work more full-time. I quit my I had a very, very good job. I didn't quit it like, how do I explain this? I mean, obviously I quit it to do this, but that isn't the main reason. It was a great job. I made very good money, but it was killing me. And I got to a point in my life where I'm like, I got to decide what's important. And so I just quit. And I didn't have anything lined up, and I thought I would have a new acceptable job by now, but we're now the end of October. I quit the beginning of June, and I still don't have one. I took a leap of faith, and I'm still running on faith. So I'm giving building liberty activism a certain amount of time. I haven't determined the amount of time, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But at some point in life, you do have to just do it. You know, people tell me they enjoy my work, that they find it valuable. So I'm testing those waters. And of course, and thank you, Julian. You know that I'm not trying to guilt anyone as well. I always get uncomfortable with like fundraising pitches because I don't want anyone to think like they're a freeloader, like if they don't. We all are in seasons in life. There used to be a season in life where I could, give somebody a substantial gift and it was nothing to me because I had it. And now to part from $5 is a big deal to me. So I get it. There are different seasons in life. I will never guilt people. I always just say, if you can and you appreciate the work, that's the libertarian principle to support. And people have asked me, because it was my birthday, and again, no pressures, but down in the low bar, there is an Amazon wish list. Everything on there has to do with the show. It's either a book we want to cover or equipment that I need. There is some equipment in order to upgrade the studio that I really am in, I don't want to say desperate need of, but it would be very helpful. Like, there's like this mounting bar to have better camera things. My husband's going to eventually close in this section. Like, a lot of you don't know what it looks like here. Well, since we're having this intimate late night discussion, let me see if I can flip to, let's go back, because I film on my iPhone. The quality is wonderful. But okay, that's the iPhone. Why? But here, I'm going to put it on the webcam. This is what I'm holding. Okay, so here's my view. Oh, okay, so you guys might find this interesting. This is what I see. And look at the infinite regression. So here's right here, this area you're looking at here. Like if I switch, see, it goes to there and then there. And here's your comments. This is where I get to see your comments. Got my little whatever here, and there's the basement window. But you can see it's all unfinished. Wayne is eventually going to finish this. We put some insulation up there. But if you see over there, that's my husband's like gunsmithing section. He refills his own ammo and stuff. We're going to enclose this room in to have better sound quality. But you can see how chaotic it is here. And over here, I got some decorations. And now we're moving right over there. That's the furnace area. You can see I've just got shit everywhere. And here's behind me. But like the lighting, we're going to make this better. So that's the studio tour. But most people, I think, are very curious about the view I have. So, like, there's the mic, and this is what I see. There's my mixing board. And what else is interesting to show you? Oh, this desk. You see how this is recessed? This desk from 1897? This is an old typist desk. This thing comes up. So this is for the typewriter to sit in. But isn't it perfect the way it keeps everything out of view of my camera? But let me tell you, I mean, my God, this thing is solid wood. And I got it for free. I'm so in love with it. And there's the Mac Mini over there that I had to finance because my computer crapped out. Anything else we might want to see here in the studio tour? I don't think so. But so what I was trying to tell you is up in the roof there. need to mount things differently, and there's like this mounting board. And you can see another, trying to get it here. Yep, there's my other mic from up there. Okay, let me put this back over my screen. That big ass screen I have in front of me, it was it like 3 years ago? Costco had, like, it's a 32-inch screen. They had them for $100. Isn't that incredible? So this is the webcam view, and now I'm going to switch it back to the iPhone view. See how much better the iPhone quality is? All right, yeah. So in the Amazon wish list, there are things from, I think, like $5 on up. So if you can and you want to, people have asked me, what can you do for my birthday? Get me something from my Amazon wish list. It would be greatly appreciated. But again, no pressures at all. Your community and your support is worth more to me than any patronage. This community and this party has enriched my life more than any money possibly can, particularly in this very trying time. People, and I'm going to close just with this personal note, and I'll probably say this a bunch of times because saying it helps me, but I also don't think people understand, like, why everything's been so hard. We all go through shit and get thrown out of shit. It happens. But until you've been humiliated is part of the word, but like dressed down, you know what I mean? Till you've been just made to be like this big and have stripped away from you something you've worked for so hard, that's what my secretary position is. It means a lot to me, and I worked for it, and how dare anyone take that away? But anyway, until you've had something you hold precious, and including your integrity, stripped away from you in front of a national audience, you do not know how I feel. It's on a whole different level to be humiliated on that large scale. It's one thing in your community. I don't think our monkey brains were designed or evolved, whatever you want to say, to handle that. To think that there are people discussing my situation or discussing me in negative terms in, I'm just going to make up a state, Virginia, like 1,000-something miles away, that I don't know, that I've never met, that doesn't know me. I can't describe the feeling of being nationally humiliated. I just can't. And unless you've been through that, you can't either. And I'm sure you've been through things I can't understand. Like people have struggled with cancer. You know, there's plenty of things. But I'm just trying to articulate why it's been so devastating to me. My most prized possession is my integrity. And I know my integrity is intact. And I know that there are honest people who do not like me, who do not agree with me, but they will always say, I know she does what she does because she believes it's right. And that's all you can, that's the highest praise you can get from someone who doesn't like you, a quote-unquote enemy. But when I have people making up things and destroying my, impugning my integrity, listen, I could be wrong about an opinion. I could go overboard in how I express things. I'm a firebrand. I could do a lot of things wrong. But at the core, you try to strip my integrity? That's why I call it a political assassination. Never experienced anything like this in my life. Ever. I would never strip away something so obviously precious that somebody had worked for. I just can't picture it. Unless they like killed somebody, you know? Not because they criticize me. Not because I don't like them. I couldn't look myself in the mirror or sleep at night if I did that to somebody. Now, some people go, oh, well, didn't you vote to remove Arvin Vohra? You know, each day I'm coming more and more to the conclusion that I was wrong. And if I ever come finally to that conclusion, I will apologize to Arvin. But it's different. He didn't just simply criticize his colleagues. He made comments that were very problematic about children. I know he doesn't think so. I know his defenders, whatever. I'm not trying to drag Arvin. I'm just saying it was different. That would actually be a NAP violation. It wasn't merely, I don't like my fellow LNC members. He said that plenty of times too. But he got in trouble for making jokes. He said they were jokes. I don't know, whatever, about shooting up the school board right after there was a school board shooting, and things that a lot of people found problematic about age of consent. Okay, I've done nothing even remotely like that. But perhaps I was wrong with Arvin, and perhaps I do owe him an apology. And if I come to that conclusion, I will give it to him. But one thing I'll tell you, people forget. I was a regional representative at that time. My vote was not my own. I had to do what my region said, unlike Mr. Lucchini, who did not do what his region wanted. And my region overwhelmingly said, you need to vote yes. But I also told my region I would never, ever directly contradict your instructions. Like, I wouldn't go from a yes to a no. But if I felt my conscience was impinged, I would abstain. And perhaps that is what I should have did. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I was a much younger libertarian then. Okay, we are talking 2017. I only became a libertarian in 2014. A lot of people don't remember that. They think I've been a libertarian for a long time. I haven't. I've been a libertarian now 7 years. September 17th, 2014 was the day I became a libertarian. So my 7-year anniversary was last month. I got on the LNC in May of 2016. I hadn't even been a libertarian 2 years yet. So I'm going to cut myself, my past self, some slack. All those people like riding my ass about Arvin. Okay, great. You're picking on somebody who was a libertarian barely over 2 years. And maybe I was wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of things, and I'll be wrong about a lot more. It's all part of history. All right, I'm sorry this got a little, heavy. But I'm dealing with just things. I'm in a great place. Don't worry about me. I'm just dealing with things and hoping that the LNC and I can resolve things, because the Judicial Committee does not want to be put in this position. Like Mary Ruhr was very clear. Please try to resolve this. I do not envy them, because no matter what they do, there's going to be hell. I do think there'll be more hell if they don't reinstate me, and not for issues that have to do with me. One of the reasons I appealed, because I almost considered not appealing. I was done. Just let's go to Reno. I don't want to put myself emotionally through it, put my husband emotionally through it. But 2 reasons I appealed. This redefinition of the NAP cannot stand. It's not about me anymore. It's being used against other people. And it will continue to be used against other people as long as this decision stands. This is far greater than me. 2, due process. Same exact issue. Though not quite as foundational to our ideology as the NAP. But due process is so important. So those Because there were three main issues I appealed on: redefinition of the NAP, lack of due process, and whatever crimes they're accusing me of didn't rise to the level of a removable offense. That last one is very unique to me. Like, if that's all there was, I might not have appealed. But those other two issues are beyond me, and I want to protect a future person who I don't even know who it will be yet. But I guarantee you, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, somebody's going to look back on the research and the documents I had and say, thank God she saved that. Thank God she appealed. Because there are things I'm looking back on Angela Keaton's case, and I'm like, thank God I have this information. So I hope someday to save somebody else's bacon, and that's a big reason why I appealed. And it's a big reason why I had so many volunteers behind me. I had a whole team, fantastic team behind me. While we're talking about this, I might as well get those thank yous out there. JJ, who's my parliamentarian, I couldn't have afforded him. I don't think people realize what a big deal my parliamentarian that's been volunteering for me is. Like, his credentials. Go look at the JC documents on LPD and look at his credentials. Like, he's one of the top dogs. Like, I couldn't afford him. Like, amazing. DL Cummings. I saw his video about me. If you haven't seen this, please go and give his channel a like. Let me, I want to pull up this video he did, but I want you to subscribe to his channel. I think it's called Libertarian Dad. How much more wholesome could I have found somebody? Here it is. Let me pull this up on the screen so you can find it. Please. Here it is. You recognize his face if you watched the hearing. Please subscribe. And you can see I've liked and subscribed. But he has only 63 subscribers. His videos are excellent. And what a good man. But I saw this video he did, The Curious Case Against the LNC Secretary. His analysis was so spot on. We knew each other, but we weren't close. And I asked him to be my advocate, and he agreed. And now we've become, obviously, much closer. What a gentleman. But he did this great video. Liberty Dad responds to Cato again. It's a great video, and it's really short. Like 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm not sure how many videos he has. But look how fun, like, the cover art is. So please do go show him some love. I would super, super appreciate it. And I'm sure he would super, super appreciate it as well. He's been thrust into the spotlight and didn't expect, to be. And lastly, I want to thank Mike Seebeck. Mike is one of my best friends ever in my life. And he is the co-host for me of Cult of RONR. Very few people will be lucky enough in their life to have a friend like Mike. Sorry. I appreciate him. But he's the kind of friend that when the suspension motion came up, like, he dropped everything and flew out there to be with me. So, most of my critics have never had a friend like Mike in their life. And I'm so grateful. All right. That's going to be it for today, but I got my thank yous out. If you are a praying person, please pray that, sorry, don't want my makeup to run, that the LNC can resolve this amicably with me. It's for the good of the party. Neither of us are going to be particularly happy with the conclusion. I don't want to be censured, but that's on the table. Because it's best for the party. So, and if not, please pray for the wisdom for the Judicial Committee to arrive at a just conclusion and to word their opinion in a way that will guide future actions of this party and help protect our principles and help protect the rights of other members who may be accused. Guilty or not, it's of utmost importance to protect the rights of the accused. Libertarians of all people should know this. So if you are a praying person, I would appreciate those prayers. And if any of them are Christians or people of faith of any kind, because I'm not just asking for Christians. I don't care what faith you are. If you're a praying person, please pray. I appreciate all of you. I do not know if I'll be able to stream tomorrow. I'm doing some part-time work to earn extra income. I'm not publicly saying where because I have some people who don't like me who will then call and harass employers, even though it's like kind of impossible to do this one because it's subcontractor through subcontractor. But I just don't want to even deal with that or for my temporary employer to have to deal with that. So I am doing some temporary holiday work that is super, super, super long hours. I work Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So for a while, I won't be streaming Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. I'll try to start doing pre-recorded things so you have daily content. It's very important for me to bring you daily content. And the last announcement before we go. There's another show I want to do, another channel actually. And I like to bring this up because you never know who's going to know somebody. Has nothing to do with politics. It does have to do with history. I would like to do a daily. We can record blocks at a time, but it would be released daily show on language and history. Kind of like a word of the day, but expanded more. You know, you learn a word, you talk about its history, and kind of like expand it out into stories. So kind of like a word of the day thing, but different. You know, archaic words or whatever, interesting words, and get into the history of it and really dig into the art. That's what I'm trying to say, the art of language. So I'm looking for a dynamic co-host, somebody who would play well off of me, that would be willing to either record daily or do blocks of time. Would be remotely, obviously, unless they happen to be in Colorado, that loves language and history. Doesn't have to be political. It's not a political thing at all. I already got the name. I've already got whatever. I'm just now looking for the perfect co-host that can vibe off of me, like Mike does with me with Cultivar O&R. So if you know that person or you happen to be that person, generally one of the litmus tests might be, do you subscribe and listen to Away with Words? Because anyone who loves Away with Words is exactly the type of person I'm looking for. All right, everyone, I have rambled enough because I have missed being with you these past 2 days when I've been working. So I'm going to bid you good night. One last plea. If you could become a patron, it'd be super appreciated, and you get your name on this fancy pants closing screen I've got coming up. Love you all. You have an awesome night.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe.